Hi y'all, this is the girl bass fisher. I know it's been a while since I've posted any videos, but I'm going to start trying to get back on track, and I'll explain why that I haven't posted any videos lately. I know everybody thinks, oh, this lady is crazy. You know, I'm limited on the things I can and cannot do with my disabilities, and sometimes it just puts me in a position to where I have to literally have downtime. But the reason why I'm posting this video today is I literally have built myself a garden, and it was hard. Trust me, the ground was like cement. It took me a while to get it built up. There's no nutrients in the ground. It started from the bottom. So I know people probably think I'm crazy, but I take these like plastic containers, ice cream containers, or I use like my coffee containers, like this one here. This one here. I don't throw them away. And what I do is all my banana scraps, my eggshells, I bust them up. Anything that we don't eat, like tomatoes or peppers or anything that's gone bad, I cut them up. I don't keep them in the house. I cut them up, I put them in a bag, and then take them outside, and I fill these containers up. And what I do is when the time comes, I actually flip the containers over and poke holes on the bottom sides with a nail. And the reason behind that is so that the nutrients that are inside of these containers drain out through the bottom and give it to the plants. I know that sounds crazy, but it works. You know, this dirt had no nutrients inside of the plant, which I had to turn soil, which wasn't hard on me. It took me probably about a month to do, a little at a time. But if you ever decide to do these containers, to put them inside of your garden, put maybe a couple handfuls of like some potting soil in there, wet it. The secret behind that is make sure that it doesn't dry out. Keep it wet, put a little water in there. Crack up your eggshells, your banana peels, anything that you want to add to it. And like I said, when the time comes, pop the holes in the bottom and put them inside of your garden so that you can have the nutrients to put inside of your garden. This is actually a good way to get, like I said, more nutrients into your plants. And I'm going to show you the outside of my garden. Give me a second and I'll take you outside. So here we are outside of my garden, and it has literally taken over. I physically ordered another canopy, which I've got part of it covered with this canvas piece. I just got it, so I'm trying to work with what I can because it's out here in Arizona, and trust me, the heat here has been a whopping 120 degrees. And my plants, trust me, before I put this canopy up, were being cooked. I literally, like I was telling you about the pots, what I did is, like I said, the coffee containers. As you can see, I've got one down inside of here. I clipped off all the little baby squashes and the flowers and stuff out here the other day to get the plant to produce more solid fruit. You don't want to keep getting these fruits that are not pollinated and not growing out enough. They just sizzle out and die. So you literally go in and clip back all the old to promote new growth. Okay, so like I said, I've got the nutrients in here that I have put in on the bottom of my garden. Here's another one down here. I used the Cool Whip topping. Since I put up the canopy and put my nutrients in the ground, it has promoted all new growth. We have literally got a whole refrigerator full of banana peppers, literally peppers like these. They were getting what they call end root rot, and it caused by magnesium deficiency, which you can use a tablespoon of Epsom salt mixed with the water, but you got to be careful for cucumbers and peppers and tomato plants. And as you can see, it is just loaded. These are that are left from I haven't picked. On top of, I've got bell peppers in here. Look at my bell peppers. Isn't this nice to have come out here and you can just be able to pick your own things? Like I said, this is awesome to be able to do this. These are jalapenos. I need to get in here and cut some more back. As you can see, the baby peppers. You got banana peppers in here. And I got cucumbers. All the flowers that are on here now that started off with are male flowers. You got to remember that a lot of these plants that are in here start off with male and female flowers. These are not self-pollinating flowers, so it takes the flowers to pollinate. Sometimes I come in here with either a paintbrush or a tip of another squash and I hand pollinate. So all these flowers that you see in here on the vine are literally female flowers. You can hear that we got the jets going over, the F-15s. Anyway, I just now am starting to get my baby cucumbers. I cannot wait. I'm excited to see these. These are my baby cucumbers. As you can see, there's the fruit on the end. That is a female with the fruit. The fruit always is the female. And the ones that have just the flower are the males. And you can see the difference with that. Also, it has been devastating on my tomato plants. I had the most beautiful tomato plants out here, and I have literally gone through today of cleaning them up. Between the heat, we get what they call curly top on the tops of the plants that end up doing this. They end up going in what they call a self-defense mode where the ends start curling, or you can get a disease that also causes that too. So what I did is I went in there and cleaned them up today, clipped off all the bad to try to promote more growth. And I have to do it today because today is the only overcast day that we have had in over a month. Also, worms. Every time I got any kind of tomatoes, it didn't matter. I come out here, look how pretty they're doing. You know, we had some really nice beef steaks out here. Look at the tomatoes that are on here. I come out here, and the next day, they'd be full of holes. And so then, if you look out here on the ground, there's plenty of tomatoes that I've thrown back in the soil, which I've stopped doing that. I literally physically have my bucket here now, which I'm taking and cutting all the old leaves and my scraps, and I'm going to start putting them into some more buckets and redo them back into the plants. So I've got the pear tomatoes, I've got beef steaks, I've got the Mr. Stripies in my. I've contemplated on literally ripping them out because they were in such bad shape, but since they put in the shade, they're trying to make it come back to why that I cleaned them up to where I'm at with that now. Also, the what you see in here is my squash. Literally has turned into a jungle. I think next year what I'm going to do with my tomato plants is I'm going to put them in the totes and wrap them with tulle so that the bugs can't get them, and just have the garden piece for the squash alone. I have got green striped cushaw in here. I've got pink banana squash. I've got zucchini and the yellow cricklet. And I've started trellising them up. As you can see, this is the result what I get when I hand pollinate my own fruit by my hand. I have literally got a really nice squash coming in here. Can't really, let me see if I can move the leaves out of the way so you can see how big this thing is. I mean, it is literally probably 5+ pounds. These things get big, sometimes up to 30 pounds, but there's a nice big one in here. As you can see, the striped squash. It too has the female and the male flowers. It's nice. Like I said, I've started trellising them up. These here are the cushaws. They have the nice little white prints on them. You don't want to overwater them. You don't want to spray the leaves, because then in more moist climates you get mold on the plants, and you don't want that. And as you can see how mine have gone out, which I'm still learning in the process with a lot of these, is what happens is you get all these trellises. I call them arms, legs, fingers, and toes. You're going to come over here, and to stop it, you literally snip just a little piece off the end to stop it from trellising, what I've done with this one. And this one probably won't make it, but this one probably will. It's been hand pollinated. The little tip came through. If I see the fruit starting to rot, I'll clip them off to try to get it to focus in on it concentrating on working on the fruit itself. And when you snip the tip off, it also puts a stop to the trellising. Also, what I've noticed with the pink banana is it gets the root pieces that come down kind of like a spider plant, that literally it looks like it self-roots down. So that's another possibility. It just makes me wonder if maybe that if you could actually get more than one plant off of it by letting itself grow roots into the ground. You can see the difference in them, which ones are doing well. And like I said, these are the green cushaws. I've got them all over inside of the garden. I got, like I said, my secondary canopy came yesterday, and I'm going to go in and cool off a little bit before I go in and try to run another trellis. Like I said, I have literally taken and hand snipped the ends of these off to get it to stop making any more vines, to get it to concentrate on putting more fruit out there. As you can see, I've got several throughout the garden, which is nice. This stuff, this green squash, is so good. It's like a pumpkin. The last seeds that I had from California were different versus the ones that I had to order online, and I have yet to have found the same type of squash seeds as what I had out there versus these. Which would have been really nice. I literally make what they call a squash medley. I take the yellow and the green and the gray, and I put onions and garlic, and I take the banana squash and I use garlic seasoning and butter. I put a full stick of butter in it, and I bake it in the oven, or you can put it on the grill. A squash medley. And let me tell you something, between that pumpkin squash that goes inside of that dish makes the dish. You cannot go wrong with making that dish, the why that I've been out here. So what's going to happen today, once I cool off a little bit, we were supposed to get some rain, but obviously we didn't get any. It literally went all the way around the Phoenix area, which is out that way, and to Flagstaff and all that surrounding areas. We didn't get nothing, not one drop of that rain. But I'm going to take a glue that stick piece back on right there. I'm going to run a trellis piece here to the ones that are starting to come up off the top. I'm going to trellis those up. These ones that are down here on the bottom, like I said, I'm going to put a canopy up and then run a T-bar, kind of like the one I have on the other side, so that I can trellis those up as well, like I did with these. I'm literally physically using the garden itself. Like I said, this is a T-bar made with the PVC pipe, and the netting I ordered off of Amazon as well. This shade piece I need to tighten up more, but I made this myself. It is 10 feet out by 20, which I should have literally went by 10 by 10. Probably would have been a little more solid, but I made this thing is huge. I mean, big. So, like I said, I took the PVC pipe and made a frame and put the canopy over the top of it. And to make it more solid, I used those metal bars that they use for running electricity. I can't think of what the name is. You know, my brain is like frozen. They run 10 feet, and what I did is I cut them in half so I could get 2 poles in one and have them 5 feet out. And then took the adapter piece and had, what was it, 5 inches out, 5-6 inches, so that it would be tall enough for me to walk underneath the canopy. But this is what I actually built, like I said, from the bars, the PVC pipes, all from my own design. It was a learning lesson with me and how that I did it, but I plan on running a trellis here, a trellis on the other end to run the rest of them off the ground. It's going to be nice once I get it completed, but this is what I've been dealing with. One of the reasons why, too, I have been busy doing other things on top of my vehicle, which I told you was stolen back in April of last year, which they still have yet to have found. But I will go back into that in another video to you and explain to you what went down with me purchasing another vehicle and what the dealership tried to do to me in purchasing that next vehicle. So let me go back into the house. So here I am back in the house. As you can see, that's my fruit pizza. Maybe I can go over with on how to make that. As you can see, my refrigerator, don't mind, it's kind of messy, is loaded full of peppers. And what I was telling you, the end root rot, the fruits are still good, which I plan on making a banana dressing with them. You can cut this piece off. That is cooked, literally cooked from the sun. You can either, like I said, 2 different problems that end up causing this problem is from the sun cooking the fruit, or like I said, the or magnesium deficiency. But like I said, you want to get into it, use these things to put more nutrients back into your plant. It's well worth the thing to looking into. I've actually got a couple more videos. I did a survey piece on that. I will have put on there to show you the different. I bought 4 different nettings to show you how much they costed, how they came, and you've seen how they looked outside, and they're pretty much, a couple of them, like I said, are pretty much the same net. But anywho, let me go into my bedroom and show you my other plants. So these are my apple trees. Learning lesson with a lot of these, and these actually, and I know everybody thinks I'm crazy, I have literally tried in the past to get apple seeds to grow and have done the instructions and could never get anywhere with them. I literally prayed to God and said, hey, it would be nice if I could have some apple trees. Never been able to grow. And I know people probably think I'm crazy, but I'm a high, strong believer that if you pray and ask God for help, which I'd be here all day telling you little stories about the different things that I've dealt with that I know that God has had his hand in. And that's the honest to God truth. I was peeling the apple and said to myself, it would be nice if I could have an apple tree. I peeled the apple, sliced it up, popped open that core, and from disbelief, I could not believe it, the seeds had self-germinated. I was like, no way. No way did this just happen. So these, look at my beautiful little trees. Look at my trees. Aren't they beautiful? These are my trees. These are Pink Lady apple trees. And I know that sounds crazy, but they're beautiful. My Pink Lady apple trees. And you know what I call them? And I know this sounds crazy. I call them my 12 disciples. And the craziest thing is I had one die. which I call Judas. Okay, and I know that sounds crazy. And then I call the other one Mary Magdalene, which these two, I could never been able to get them to grow. These two here are lemon trees. All done from seed. Is that crazy or what? Like I said, I have never been able to get anything to grow. And I tried a secondary time to try to get them to grow, and nothing. I told you, I prayed, and those apple seeds were growing. Okay, so, like I said, this has been a learning lesson with me. I've never grown any apple trees before, and this is all learning for me. I noticed that this one here, the ground, the leaves started tipping. I thought, well, maybe I got the leaves wet sitting in the window. Stopped growing. And this one too. Then I started noticing these little gnat-looking things on the, flying around in here in the window. And I'm like, uh-oh, I got a problem going on here. And like I said, this is a learning lesson with me on all of this. The contaminated soil, and they talk about this all the time, that when you get the potting soil, they're having bugs inside of the soil. Okay, these trees didn't have anything. I literally grew them, like I said, in the peats, like this, little peats, which I just ordered the pots to put these in the pots. Okay, I'm going to go order me some different soil that I had to go online and read about what these these flying little bugs are. They're called fungus gnats. Okay? So what you see in the bottom of these plants is 7. Now I dusted them out in the bottoms of the pots on top of the soil, because what happens is these little fungus gnats, believe it or not, they burrow into the soil and they lay their eggs. And what happens, like with this one here and this one here, the leaves, a couple of the leaves are real light. They should be really dark green. That those larvae inside of the soil are eating the roots. They're literally depreciating my trees without any nutrients and harming the trees. And these are seedlings. So I've went online now, and to how that I could get them, I don't want to use any more pesticide, because these are little seedlings. I don't want to kill my trees. So what I've read online is you use 1 cup of hydrogen peroxide to, 3 to 4 cups, I have it written down, of water, dilute it, and do the watering to the trees, and then let the soil dry out, because they don't like dry soil. So obviously, I've created a problem with me watering these trees by having moist soil, because that is an encouragement to why that they call them fungal gnats. They go inside of the soil, they lay their eggs, and then you've got a problem that's killing your trees. So that's another thing. People don't realize they go into a grocery store, they pay these high prices for some of their specialty groceries. Let me give you an example. You cannot go into a grocery store out here on the West Coast and literally physically walk into the store and buy any banana squash or pink banana squash or the winter cushaw squash. You cannot get it because it's a specialty item, and some of those plants grow 30 to 60 pounds. And what the grocer told me is they cut it up into little squares and they weigh it by the pound, which in the past out there in Vegas, I was able to go to Albertsons and buy it, and then they stopped carrying it. He said the grocers, they said they lose more money by having it because not everybody buys that stuff, and people don't realize how sweet that pumpkin is. You can literally physically make pies and everything in between with that stuff. Those cushaws and those other types of squash. But you think about it in reality, what goes into growing that stuff? The fear is real. And I am just a beginner gardener to what goes into trying to make sure that they're getting enough nutrients, making sure that they're growing okay, battling the heat, battling the worms, battling the bugs. You know, it's unbelievable what a person, you think about that, the crops that go to your store. Corn inside of the husks gets earwigs. Lettuce gets earwigs. You think about this, that when you go to the store or in the past I've grown broccoli and cauliflower, and the white flies that get on the leaves that decimate the plants before they even get a chance to grow. To why that these people, it's natural grown. But you got to remember the pests. The fear is real to these farmers, to what goes out to putting safe fruit and vegetables in the stores for us to eat. And we don't want to pay the prices. We don't realize the fear that goes into it, that if it rains too hard, that it has decimated the crops between the hail. I've literally seen the hail come out here on their alfalfa and their corn and decimate the crops, literally level it, flat it out. The fear is real. And you know, these farmers put their time, their effort, their money, and everything that grows, and we don't appreciate that. And a person that grows just a singular little things like this mean a whole lot more to me, because the struggle is real. I know that sounds crazy, but you think about that for a second, to everything that goes on when you go to the store, and everybody eats grapes, everybody eats corn, fruits, vegetables, and peaches. These bugs can literally, like I said, they're worms. They were literally sitting on the pods out there before it could even grow out. I would go out there the next day and literally the tomatoes would be inside out, completely eaten, and all it was there was a shell. And it's heartbreaking that I'm so excited to see these plants growing out, looking so good, and then the next day, boom, they're gone. Literally decimated in one night. One night, and I'm not kidding you, one night. It's heartbreaking. You know, I didn't know what else to do. I've literally gone online and looked for natural things to work you can put out there, and then people say, oh, don't do this, you're going to kill your crops. The only thing that I have found that has been safe, that when I do use it, I really wash my stuff really well, and I've never had any problems with it, is the 7 dust. I've never had an issue with it. And I know a lot of people don't agree on using any kind of pesticides or anything like that. But to me, I use the 7. And to me, when I use either the liquid 7 or the dust, I don't have any more problems. I literally had to go out there, and like I said, and clean my plants up today. To those beautiful plants were either decimated from the heat or decimated from the worms. You know, it makes me sick to everything that I put into it. And I'm disabled. I don't have much to go by with what I live by here, to what I try to occupy my time. Sometimes I can only go out there a few minutes at a time, and it is so freaking hot. And sometimes I can only go out there late at night. You can't even water the plants here at night. I have to wait till 1 o'clock in the morning to even water the plants, because the water is so freaking hot. You put your water even here in the house on cold, there is no cold water. Literally, you will get scalded trying to put any water in, taking a tub or taking a shower. You literally, if I take a bath, I have to run the water and wait a little bit for it to cool down before I can physically go in and take a bath. And it's the same way when I go out there and water my plants. I do not dare get the leaves wet, because I will burn my plants. It is a real situation. But you think about it, the next time you go into the grocery store, to what it takes to get any of this stuff to grow, and what it takes to get into it for it safely to get to us. But I got a couple more things to show you before I end this video. So here I am back inside of my kitchen. And I know it's kind of messy, but you know, I sometimes use this workstation. I had a couple of these plants that went into shock after I bought them. This is a shame. I paid $10 for these plants and they completely freaking died. So I haven't gotten around to it, but today I will literally reuse the soil and break these down and put them into totes. The why that they're still sitting here. I literally, when I garden or get anything from the store, use this strainer. And I know this sounds crazy. What are you talking about, though? Anybody that cuts up tomatoes, you get seeds still left on the board, or when you cut up a jalapeno or any of the bell peppers, what I do is I put them in the strainer, I rinse them off, and then I put them like this on a towel and dry them out. People literally think, you look at how many seeds. This is just from one jalapeno from the store. One jalapeno from the store. Look at that. Do you know how much they would charge you for seeds like this at the store? Literally, some places you might can go to the dollar store. What is their stuff from the dollar store? It's gone up to now $1.25, $1.50 a package. You might get 10 seeds. Maybe. But if you go online, some of these places are charging $2, $3, $5, and even $10 for 30 seeds. And this is exactly one jalapeno. One. Look how many seeds are inside of there that I harvested, that these come from the store. And I dried them out. Literally, physically, this is what I do. And then I date it in these bags. And the same thing from some of my fruits that I got earlier this season. These are my Mr. Stripies. I had a couple of sweet watermelon seeds that came, the Crimson Sweets. I kept 2 of those. Literally, I keep, like I said, my labeling. I use the strainer, simple kitchen tool. I keep my seeds. I keep my costs down from harvesting the seeds. Like I said, these are jalapenos. These are Roma tomatoes. And these are the stripies. And these are just to name a few with what I do. And these totes, I know this sounds crazy, but these came from, I keep these. I get these from like, what is it? That pasta place that people order all the time from. I can't think of what the name of, not Applebee's. Anyway, I keep the containers and I keep the lids. I wash them out and I order the peats. I literally physically take the peats, put the seeds in. Like I said, when you do apple seeds, they have to be done a specific way. They have to be put in the refrigerator, sat in there for like a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, taken out. I date them, and then when I'm ready to take them out, then let them germinate. But I literally physically use all of these to germinate my seeds. Can't use the metal tins. I don't know why. I've tried using the metal tins. They didn't work. But physically, I use these. Get them from that Olive Garden. That's what it is. Olive Garden, their pastas and stuff come inside of these containers. I reuse a lot of my stuff. And I know people think I'm crazy. Physically, I use a strainer. I get my seeds from the things I get from the store. I reuse these containers for the peats. I ordered my peats online. They're cheaper to get them offline than they are in the store. Harvesting my own seeds. I had a lot of seeds that were put up before we moved out here to Arizona, and none of them were any good anymore, which is kind of disappointing. So I literally have ordered a lot more seeds. One time I had tons and tons and tons of stuff. But these are my Max sunflower seeds. I had a couple more of them out there, but the birds got to them before I could. So some of these are the Big Maxes, and some of them are from my bird feeder, which I'm going to harvest the seeds from and make gelatin molds for my bird feeder out front. That's another lesson learned, that people go over there and they buy those soot places to put inside of their bird feeders. To how much money that they charge for one of those? No, no, no. Go to the store, buy a big bag seed, and you can buy the clear gelatin jello mix. Put them inside of a mold and make them yourself for pennies on the dollar compared to what they're charging. What is it, $7 to $10 for one? For one. I think my last one I bought, I kept the sticks too. I paid $6.98 for one to put in my suet seeds, and them birds ate them up real quick. And what I did is I kept the sticks. So like I said, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to measure it out with a piece of tin foil to how wide and how big this is. Put my bird seed in with my sunflower seeds and make my own suet place bird things to put outside of the garden. But a lot of my stuff, like I said, when I order offline. I get the Jiffy Pete's. I've got tons of seeds. Some of my seeds I said I ordered, had to reorder online. Come from Amazon. You just got to shop around with what you're looking for. But anyway, I think that's all I got for today. I'm still learning. I'm making a lot of mistakes. Like I said, it's not that you make a mistake and say, oh, I did it wrong. It's actually like the girl Robbie from Southern California said, it's not that you made a mistake, it was a learning lesson. And to me, it's a learning lesson with my trees, a learning lesson with everything I got going on outside. And I'm the one that's going to reap the rewards come fall time when my squash goes ready to harvest. And I am so looking forward to getting my squash because, like I said, you cannot get that Cushaw's plant squash here. You cannot get the pink banana squash. You can't get any of that stuff in the stores unless maybe you go to like a local farmer market. But anyway, thank you guys for watching my video. I know it's been a while. This is the Girl Bass Fisher. Like I said, there's going to be more videos to follow. I'm going to send some more videos online to show you my review of the nets that I bought and what they are and how much they costed. Thank you again. I hope you have a happy weekend, this upcoming weekend. Take care. God bless from the Girl Bass Fisher.